It's May 22nd, 2014, and we're in Washington, D.C. at the White House for the first day of issue dedication ceremony for the Harvey Milk Forever Stamp. Harvey Milk was a visionary leader who became one of the first openly gay elected officials in the United States when he won a seat on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in 1977. Milk's achievements gave hope and confidence to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community in the U.S. and elsewhere at a time when the community was encountering widespread hostility and discrimination. Milk believed that government should represent all citizens, ensuring equality and providing needed services. His remarkable career was tragically cut short nearly a year after taking office when he and San Francisco Mayor George Moscone were assassinated. After his death in 2009, Harvey Milk was awarded the Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama. And I'm Kristal Hart, reporting from Washington, D.C. at the White House.
I'm Dan Nicoletta, and I am the photographer for the photo of Harvey Milk. It was taken in 1977 for his third political campaign to become one of the first openly gay elected officials in the world, and he won. We were just amazed by that, because in 1977, the idea of an openly gay person becoming elected was unheard of. And the forces came together because it was an idea whose time had come. And the idea was the world needed to start treating gay people and transgender people better than they had been. And so Harvey was one of the people that spoke openly and upfront about that, and thought that by getting a seat in government, we could accomplish that goal faster. And it was true. Now we have hundreds of openly gay elected officials. And thanks to the post office, we now have a symbol of hope for the entire world, which is another thing that Harvey talked about. You know, we needed a better world for LGBT people all over the world. Thank you.
Can you bring us back to the 1970s, the day you took that photograph and set it up, and tell us what happened?
Sure. We were taking a typical campaign photo, and the tie was blowing in the wind, and so this shot got rejected. And then after Harvey was killed, I was looking through the negatives, and I said, geez, that's an awfully nice expression. Let's reprint that and see if it stands the test of time. And so that's the one that kind of went out into the world, and people get to remember him for his great smile.
And last question, what was your thoughts when you learned that your photograph would be on 35 million stamps?
Well, I've worked on a million Harvey Milk projects, including the opera and stuff, but there's something really special about a U.S. postage stamp. It is forever, and it's kind of like social media. It's going to be everywhere, and I think that's going to help the movement.
To preserve Harvey Milk's legacy and spread his message of hope is Harvey's nephew, Stuart Milk, who was 17 at the time of his uncle's assassination. Stuart Milk is a global LGBT human rights activist and co-founder of the Harvey Milk Foundation.
My Uncle Harvey didn't set out to have a postage stamp named for him. In fact, he did not set out to be a martyr. Yet at some point he knew he had to be a first to call on all to come out, a first to be so loud and proud and authentic. His authentic self, even when society had a message 40 years ago that said, we will not accept you. His message was authenticity. And much like MLK, Martin Luther King, Uncle Harvey had a dream for which he knew he would not physically get to see come real. And I'm often asked if the family has regrets that Harvey didn't get to see a day like today. We were just talking about would he have celebrated it. But he did see this day because he dreamed it. It is what gave him the strength to go into work with death threats and to remain loud and remain with that call that we have to come out. Uncle Harvey's message, let these bullets that smash through my brain smash through every mask of inauthenticity, every closet door in which we could hide our true self. Let these bullets smash the lies, the myths, the distortions of who we are, not just the myths of LGBT people, but people of color, of immigrants, of women, of those with disabilities, of those with religious beliefs and non-beliefs that are different than ours. It was a hope that those bullets would destroy the false premise that we are somehow weakened by diversity. And he realized that his assassination would have a second round of shots that were fired 35 years ago yesterday, which marked the anniversary of a jury that wept not for my uncle, not for George Moscone, but 35 years ago, a jury wept for a cold-blooded assassin and returned verdicts of not guilty to murder. This was also a prophetic vision that Uncle Harvey had that would pull back the curtain of societal injustice and society-wide diminishment. That hate-inspired verdict, not guilty of murder, was the second round of bullets fired, causing a tremor and a wake-up call to the reality that legal inequality, lack of justice, and denial of the most basic of human rights is un-American. I know Uncle Harvey hoped the harshness of such a jury verdict, with its meanness, its dehumanization, its saying it's okay to kill a gay man and his ally in San Francisco. It was a message that said, if you look like us, if you don't look like us, if you don't believe like us, if you don't love like us, then we don't value your life and justice will not apply to you. It was a wake-up call, and I think today we can say we've heard it. It was truly Uncle Harvey's dream that we could see a different paradigm resulting from both his assassination and that equally mean-spirited verdict. He hoped our justice system could be moved to not only uphold the rights of LGBT people, but to live free from violence and scorn, and maybe our justice system could even uphold the equality principles of our Constitution. Harvey often said, no matter how hard you try, you cannot erase these words. We are all equal with inalienable rights.
Hope is about envisioning a world where it is simply not okay to execute people on the basis of their sexual orientation, as is legal in 7 countries. Change is about ensuring that homophobic countries who seek to eliminate sexual orientation from the United Nations resolution on extrajudicial executions fail. And thanks to President Obama's leadership, they have. Hope is about envisioning a world where LGBT persons have a seat at the table. Change is about ensuring that organizations dedicated to advancing LGBT rights enjoy the same privileges and accreditations at the United Nations as any other organization. And thanks to President Obama's leadership, they now do. Hope is about envisioning a global consensus that LGBT rights are human rights and human rights are LGBT rights. Change is about passing the first UN resolution in history that recognizes that. And under President Obama, we have. Hope is about envisioning a world where promoting LGBT rights is a central part of our foreign policy. Change is about the President of the United States directing his entire government to do just that, and he has. Hope is about envisioning a world where leaders do not target their most vulnerable citizens with laws that criminalize their existence, as is true now in 76 countries around the world, including Nigeria and Uganda, where new legislation further targeting LGBT individuals was signed into law earlier this year. Change is about standing up to them when they do, and under President Obama, we have. Supervisor Milk liked to begin his speeches by saying, "My name is Harvey Milk, and I am here to recruit you." For those who raise your voices in the face of intolerance, who speak up for equality, who fight for the vulnerable, you are continuing the work of a great American, an American we honor today with a stamp, but whose work will forever live in the freedoms he helped protect, the equality he helped advance, the constitutional principles and promise he helped render real for all Americans, not just some. Harvey Milk, you have recruited us, and we will be forever grateful, and we will be forever changed. Thank you.
I'm proud that this nation will honor the legacy of this brave and courageous man, Harvey Milk, who gave his life in the struggle against hate and discrimination in this country, in our beloved country. The activism of Harvey Milk came of age during the last social revolution in American history. It was a revolution of values and ideas that started in 1955 in the American South and gave rise to other movement of conscience in America. Good trouble, necessary trouble. That's what Harvey Milk got involved in. Students sat in and sat down against the Vietnam War. Some places in America, women, young, middle-aged, and some older women, burned their bras to proclaim their liberation as African American. They had changed for civil rights and social justice all over America. It was numberless diverse acts of courage, belief that human history is shaped. It was during this climate of rapid transformation that Robert F. Kennedy spoke those words. He continued, each time a man stand up for an idea, an act to improve the lots of others, or strike out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny rip of hope. And those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Harvey Milk was inspired by words like these and the activism of others. So he decided to send out another ripple of hope in the ongoing human struggle for freedom. We must continue to support the vision, the dream, and the legacy of the mayor of Castro Street, Harvey Milk. Until we finally accept one simple truth, that we are one people, one family, the human family. We all live in one house, the American house, the world house. With this stamp, this unbelievable stamp, we remember, we honor an unforgettable man, Harvey Milk, who gave his life in the ongoing struggle to build a nation and a world community at peace with itself. Thank you, Harvey Milk.
Customers have until July 21st, 2014 to obtain the first day of issue postmark by mail. Affix the stamps to envelopes of your choice, address the envelopes to yourself or others, and place them in larger envelopes addressed to Harvey Milk, Special Events, P.O. Box 92282, Washington, D.C. 20090-2282. After applying the first day of issue postmark, the Postal Service will return the envelopes through the mail. There is no charge for the postmark up to a quantity of 50. For more than 50, there is a 5-cent charge per postmark. All orders must be postmarked by July 21st, 2014. And I'm Kristal Hart reporting from the White House in Washington, D.C.